Welcome back, my beautiful friends. You're listening to A Moment of Zen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York. I am your host, Zen Sams. Up next, we have the Scandals segment with Imran Ansari of Idala Bertuna Commons, otherwise known as ABK Law, right here in New York City. And today, we're going to be covering the Johnny Depp Amber Heard Defamation Trial. Now, Johnny Depp, and I'm going to point out his age, is 58 years old. Okay, he's suing Amber Heard, who's 36. That's really relevant for me. And it's for a defamation over a 2018 op-ed that she wrote for the Washington Post, in which she opened up about surviving domestic violence. Now, back in November of 2020, Johnny Depp lost his highly publicized UK libel lawsuit against British tabloid The Sun for calling him a wife beater. Now, the court upheld the outlet's claim as being substantially true, and Amber testified to back up those claims. Now, in March of 2021, his attempt to overturn the decision was overruled. In this case, however, for this particular case, he's suing Amber Heard directly, and he has testified that his goal is the truth as he seeks to clear his name in the trial, which is being televised via various outlets. You've all seen it. Now, ahead of the trial, Amber said in a statement that hopefully when this case concludes, she can move on, and so can Johnny, and that she has always maintained a love for him, and it brings her great pain to have to live out the details of their past in front of the world. Now, they are both very, very talented actors, but some would wonder if this will really end up as the case. Based on the recent weeks, it's looking quite ugly. And here to chat some more about the biggest bombshells and revelations from the defamation trial so far is legal expert Imran Ansari. Welcome to the show, my friend.
Thanks for having me, Zen. Always great to be here.
Okay, what a fiasco. What is the takeaway here, Imran? Where is this heading?
Yeah, Zen, the big takeaway is that the public really loves the Hollywood and the law. That's the big takeaway. We have been enthralled by this trial. The public has been enthralled by this trial. And it's been a while where a legal proceeding has spawned memes, social media, postings, and the like. But this trial is really captivating the public's attention. There's Team Johnny, Team Amber. But really what's important here that we don't lose sight that this is a trial. This is a trial for defamation, which is grounded in claims of domestic violence and domestic abuse. So really, even though there's this hoopla around it, Zen, there are real legal implications to this proceeding.
Yeah, well, of course, and their careers, both of their careers are at stake here. You have Amber's attorney, Ben Rottenborn. He told the courtroom that Amber suffered domestic abuse, that it took on many forms, including physical, emotional, verbal, and psychological. And then he went on to add that she did suffer sexual violence at the hands of Johnny Depp. But then on the flip side, a spokesperson for Johnny Depp denied the allegation, calling it, fictitious and for the purpose of Hollywood shock value, which Amber has mastered and used to exploit in serious social movements, right? And she's doing this over and over again. What do you say to this?
Yeah, no, I mean, both of these individuals are actors, right, Zen? So they're coming into that courtroom as witnesses. They're there in a court of law to testify as witnesses in that court of law. But we can't, lose fact that they're both actors. They're masters of their craft, if you will. So their testimony, in many ways, that jury is going to have to decipher whether the testimony is based on truth and is true testimony, or if there's some embellishment or acting going on. I just came off trial myself, Zen, and when I pick a jury, I talk to that jury and I say, listen, the witnesses coming into court, they're not going to necessarily be the ones you see on Law and Order and shows like that. These are real people, not actors. But this is the opposite, Zen. We have two real talented actors in that courtroom who are testifying about very personal, salacious, and intimate details about their toxic relationship. And really, the jury is going to have to parse out what's true, what's credible when they make their decision at this trial.
Yep. Agreed. And what's over exaggerated. So let's review some of the biggest bombshells that were dropped in this trial so far. So we all heard, and have been following a lot of this televised testimony. But Amber Heard testified that Johnny Depp did a cavity search on her. So the actress described, feeling so lonely after this particular incident when Johnny allegedly sexually assaulted her by conducting a cavity search, quote unquote, looking for drugs, And then when Amber's attorney, Ben, brought this up in his opening statements, along with other forms of domestic abuse she experienced, a spokesperson really jumped on this. So this has become a, did she make it up for Hollywood shock value, or did this actually take place? But this is a really big fabrication if it's the latter. What do you say to this? What's your opinion here?
Yes, and these are bombshell allegations. Now, you had on the plaintiff's case, Johnny Depp's case, he is the plaintiff in this matter. When he testified, you saw all this public support for Johnny Depp. It was really incredible. Now, Amber Heard takes the stand, and on the eve of her testimonies, then it shows how indicative that how the court of law is obviously important for these two individuals, but the court of public opinion is just as important, because Amber Heard fired her PR team on the eve of her testimony because she didn't like the sort of public narrative out there, didn't like the headlines. She starts testifying and she starts giving the jury all these really heavy bombshell allegations against Johnny Depp, really painting him out to be a monster, and her being a subject of this abuse. And this is, listen, this is real testimony. This is a trial. We can't sort of lose ourselves in the circus-like atmosphere outside and sometimes inside that courtroom. But then you still see a lot of support for Johnny Depp. In fact, some people are saying in the court of public opinions and that Amber Heard's testimony is backfiring on her. And there's been sort of things mocking her and things like that. I'm not necessarily saying that's right, but it's really indicative how the court of public opinion and the court of law are sort of meshing in this trial. It's really fascinating.
Right. But you still have to, like you said, keep into consideration the evidence, right? So when you look at one of the other bombshell moments, right, Johnny Depp previously texted about Amber Heard's quote unquote rotting corpse. So many of Johnny and Amber's past texts have been read out loud to the jury. And one of those was an October 2016 exchange between Johnny and his longtime friend, Isaac Baruch. And when Johnny wrote, hopefully that, CUNT's rotting corpse is decomposing in the effing trunk of a Honda Civics. And during his cross-examination, Johnny did say he wasn't proud of any of the language that he used in the explicit text. Then you have other texts sent by Johnny that were brought up in court, including one about drowning and burning Amber, in which he added he will effing burn her corpse afterwards to make sure she is dead. So this frames his personality, Imran, and it could be a Johnny on Quaaludes, it could be a Johnny intoxicated, to what a lot of the references she's made. What effect will this have on the case and on his overall personality, judging his personality from a trial perspective?
Yeah, well, the jury inside that courtroom will have to make that determination whether, that testimony and those certain facts weigh against Johnny Depp, because again, this is a defamation trial that Johnny Depp brought against Amber Heard. Now, Amber Heard also has counterclaims, so she countersued Johnny Depp within this lawsuit. But let's just think about Johnny Depp's claims then. He needs to prove that Amber Heard's statement was false, essentially, and truth for Amber Heard is an absolute defense to that defamation claim. So if the jury believes that Johnny Depp was abusing Amber Heard, well, guess what? His defamation claim really sinks, and her counterclaims then may be successful. So the jury's going to have to weigh that evidence and all this evidence coming out in this courtroom. And really, Zen, it's fascinating because it's like an open book. Into this toxic relationship. You hear all the ugly details, but that jury is going to have to make that credibility determination of what's true, what's not. And it's going to be a tough job. But again, the court of public opinion too, Zen, they're making determinations as we speak. You see Twitter, social media, Instagram.
They've already drawn their own conclusions. Yeah, they've already drawn their own conclusions. And this has turned into a mini series. I mean, Americans are plugged in because they are living this, with these actors vicariously through them, perhaps some of them. I don't know. It's very, very disturbing stuff that everybody's so enthralled with this. But when you look back at another bombshell moment, Johnny Depp and his sister recall, having an abusive childhood. So both Johnny and his older sister, Christy, have testified that their late mother, Betty Sue Palmer, was abusive towards them growing up, as well as toward their father, John Sr., who is now 84. Will this play into the verdict? I mean, all of it will play into the verdict, but I found it interesting that they introduced this.
Yeah, so that's the plaintiff's team, Johnny Depp's legal team, really humanizing Johnny Depp before this jury and giving the background, the sort of foundation of why he may be a imperfect person, a flawed person. They're painting him out to be someone who, yes, may have used drugs and alcohol in order to sort of numb, and he testified about this, numb the experiences from his youth. But they are saying that this has made him the fragile person and he was subject to abuse by Amber Heard, not vice versa. So they've made him, or tried to make him through this testimony, the more sympathetic of witnesses in that courtroom. Whether that's successful, we're going to have to wait and see with that verdict.
Yeah, well, you know what? Listen, everyone is plugged in. I can't wait to have you back on. We've run out of time, but we could talk about this for another 30 minutes and not lose a moment because there's just so much to fill. So thank you so much for coming on, Imran. It was so insightful having you on.
Thanks for having me, Zen. It's always great to be on.
Absolutely. Guys, you have to check out Imran Ansari. That's Imran Ansari, idalalaw.com. And that was our scandals segment. You're listening to A Moment of Zen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York. We'll be right back after this.